Hey, what's up? So I watched the interview with Dave Smith and Chris Cuomo, or conversation that they had. I just got done watching it, and I took a jillion notes. So this is probably going to be long. So get ready for a long one. What I'm going to do is going to be a little different than my usual videos lately, and with these topics and stuff. I'm going to try to get through these as quickly as possible because there was a 3 hour thing, and I have a lot of notes. So one thing I was thinking about when I was thinking about even doing this video and talking about the conversation that was had, um, it reminded me of something of like because they were showing clips. They even got Chris Cuomo in his face, showing him like, here's what you did, here's what you said, and you won't even apologize for it, and he will not apologize for it. Anyways, what it made me think of was when I had seen these clips. I had seen clips left and right all over the place, and this was over my years of being in that horribleness. So I would see clips, but give me a sec. Sorry. Whenever I saw a clip, I would check the source every time, especially when it was like a 10 to 30-second clip. And especially when you could tell the clip was edited, right? When you could tell they edit little parts and put it together and whatever. I would go check the full version. I wanted the full context. So I did not just watch clips. That's why I'm here, and I got like a jillion notes on a 3 hour freaking interview. And the reason that I watched this, and I wasn't planning to, whatever, because I saw the clips and I was like, holy crap. They're saying all these things with Chris Cuomo, right? So damn it, I need some water. Sucks. And we could say the same thing about like Tucker Carlson and stuff. And I have a little note on that too. Interesting. I guess I might skip it. I'll say that now is they do show and talk about a little bit about how Tucker had apologized about the Iraq War, and I don't know, man. I haven't seen enough of Tucker to trust him at all. I think it is just part of the show, misleading, give you a little bit of truth so that you can think you can trust them and go along. It's possible that there's some honesty there. I don't think so. I have no reason to, knowing the history of the guy's a millionaire. And on this, was it? Oh, damn it. And I forget what part of the conversation it was, because it might have been part of the same thing where he's apologizing for the Iraq War, but I don't remember for sure. But he says he's not rich. Like, he literally says he's not rich. Like, I'm not rich. I'm like, dude. Anyways, I'm gonna have a drink of water. That's the sucky part about not doing edits. So I did have a drink of water before I started this, specifically because I just had dinner. Anyways, so I'm all for if that's real and whatever, and he's really honest. I don't believe it for a second. I don't have no reason to. There's too much history behind that. It's the same thing with Trump. Same thing. Like, oh my gosh, there's so much going on. So let me start from the beginning of my notes here, because it's all going to come up. All right. So I'm going to try to go through these quickly, because I have more than I've ever made for any of these stupid things. All right. Anyways, damn it. So 19 minutes in, that's just when I started taking notes. They had they probably had like a little normal introduction conversation before it got deeper, which is why I don't have any notes before this. It could have just been stuff that whatever, but I didn't start taking notes until about 20 minutes in. Chris Cuomo said that that as MSM should have explained better about the vaccines and changed the wording. He said they should have expressed it better. Should have changed the way they said things. And as soon as I heard that, I was like, they literally changed the definitions for vaccine and vaccination multiple times within a single year. So I guess they could have explained better and changed the wording. Oh, they changed the wording. All right. Oh, they did. to clarify, I talked about that before. Anyways, I just want to throw that. I thought that was funny. I was like, change the wording. Oh, you sure did. Oh, you sure did. 19 and a half minutes in, so it was like all within like the same minute. Cuomo starts blaming China. China. You know, their virus and all this stuff, whatever. Very sorry about the clearing throat thing. So these are just notes that I'm they're, to me, talking points in a sense, where like I'm just sharing this is what happened, this is what went through the discussion, and I wanted to pop that out there and throw that as that it's the normal blame China or blame Russia or whatever, right? We always have someone to blame. It's usually China or Russia, but we're at war with the entire world apparently, right? So it doesn't matter anyways. So I just thought it was funny that he, of course, brought up the, you know, China. And then at 26 and a half minutes in, this made me mad. But like I think it was Dave Smith. I don't remember. It was probably Dave Smith. But started talking about how like Tucker Carlson was the only one who did real investigation and stuff. And I'm like, I'm open to that. Maybe being some. I don't believe it for a second, because like I've seen it my whole life. I didn't go into the deep details or anything, but I had seen the back and forth my entire life. Okay, 40 years, or you know, almost 40 years, since I'm over 40, but didn't watch the news and politics when I was like really young, right? Like in the teenage and higher years, right? Like 14, 15, start getting into that stuff, whatever, hearing about it. Not, you know, I never got deep, but anyways, the one thing that I'm very familiar with, and I'm sure most people that has ever paid the littlest bit of attention to any of these stupid things through our life remembers that they've always done the back and forth, man. Always. You know, it's the same thing with China and Russia. We hate one or the other. We hate both. We hate, you know, whatever. It's the same thing when they're pretending that this network over here, this person is the truth. And the same thing with RFK Jr., for example. Same with Bernie Sanders. Same with AOC and the squad. They throw out heroes, they lie about them, they give all these stupid fake stories, and none of it matches the real stuff when you really look into it. So that's why I have not looked at Tucker. I don't waste my time. I don't bother. I don't care. I could. It's possible that if I were to take a more of a look, that I might go, oh, you know what? Maybe he is being honest and whatever. But I don't. No, it's okay. You know, whatever. I'm not interested. I'm not interested in doing that. No, thank you. 31 minutes in, I think it was the host, but they just go into the whole America First thing. I'm America First, and of course, it's just a little note. 56 minutes in, Dave said that the vaccine stuff was to stop Trump. So here's the thing that made it so frustrating to get through this entire conversation, was because there was so much like Trump's the hero, Trump's the outsider, Trump's the savior, and they're trying to stop him. If they're trying to stop him, he never would be considered in the first place to be on the platform. It's all fake. There's, and all you have to know is their history. The history between Trump, the history of his own business, all the bull crap there, the history between him and other politicians. You know, not even to mention like Epstein stuff, you know, whatever. If any of it's real, just saying, I'm just throwing that out there. So yeah, it was very confusing throughout, because he would say like, I'm not a Trumper, you know, like people wish I was Trumper, but I'm not. But then he kept repeatedly saying how like, oh, they're trying to stop him, as if he's really the outsider. And that's the problem that I have with everybody and everything. Because I understand that the argument there is that they're showing the soap opera is that Trump is the enemy and he's clearly the bad. They're clearly attacking him and whatever. And I'm sitting here and I'm just like, dude, this isn't the first time. They literally do this every cycle. This is not new. It's the worst I've seen it. It's the biggest show I've seen. It's the biggest bunch of bullcrap I've ever seen. And it's the worst policy-wise that I've experienced and seen for myself. I've never never seen anything like this before. I've seen, not when it comes to the policy, not with the mandate specifically and the forceful like craziness, but all the other stuff, same old. I mean, even the flu fear mongering was the same. The wars are the same. Everything's the same. It's just they took it further. So it's just a bigger show. It's a bigger circus. That's the only difference. They repeatedly kept acting like this is the first time this has ever happened. You only who's as old as I am that remembers like almost every president being impeached, right? How many impeaches have we seen? I don't care. Like, I could go look and I could go tell you, remember this impeachment, remember this impeachment, remember this impeachment, remember this impeachment. It's all bullcrap. None of them are actually really impeached, right? You know what I mean? Like, and then you consider, people really think that you could, oh, we've convicted Donald Trump on these legal things and but he can still be president, you can still vote on him, like, and that somehow makes sense to people. Somehow that's who you're gonna pick? Really? I don't, anyways. It makes no sense. All right, let me get through my notes more, because there's some of that stuff comes up again. I'm just like, ah. Anyways, 1 hour in, horse paste. Oh yeah, they started an hour into it. The conversation went into that horse paste. I don't know if I'll get flagged for that, but probably. But yeah, they had that conversation. And then just as a small note, I don't like the host. I forget why. I've seen him before. The host, not like, there's Dave Smith and then there's Chris Cuomo, but then the host guy, I don't know his name, but I don't like him. Like, I can't stand him. And I haven't seen a whole lot of him. I don't like him. Anyways, you know, sometimes you don't vibe with people, man. That guy, I'm like, oh my gosh, you're right up there. Anyways, never mind. I don't know him, but I do not vibe at all. He's anyways, he starts talking about his family for a few minutes, and I think he's trying to get people to like relate to him and whatever, and I'm just like, oh dude, nobody's here to relate to your stupid personal crap. Get out of here. Anyway, I'm just saying, whatever, man, whatever. An hour and 17 minutes, they'd start talking about warp speed. An hour and 18 minutes, Kamala Harris. Oh yeah, they talk about how Kamala Harris said not to take it. And this was also mentioned earlier in the video, in their discussion, and I forgot about that. Yeah, a couple times they brought up how it wasn't just Kamala Harris, it was Biden as well, that they said if Trump says we have to take this vaccine, we're not going to take it, you know. And I had shared that clip before in one of my videos. I forget which one it was, probably a couple of them. Oh, misinformation. I have a video called Misinformation, and I share a bunch of that stuff, man. It's nuts. 1 hour 22 minutes in. Oh, the host guy kisses Cuomo's ass for some reason. It was like a minute of him, and it's part of the show. To me it's part of the show. They might be all being it just makes no sense to me. I'm like, why are you kissing this guy's ass? Because you'd have to see it to understand. I don't want to watch it. I noted it. It was strange, and I was like, where did that come from? Because 99% of the show, even after, like, up until that point, they were kind of mostly on him, you know, but then he starts just saying these nice things he's like complimenting him while trying to act like he's hardball questioning him, right? You know, which is very weird, because they're already having an honest conversation as far as what's being said, which I was just like, this is, wow, it's like, they're saying these things, cool, you know, whatever. It's very weird. It is. It's, again, we're a few years after the fact that we've all been sent, people with no viewers and stuff have been banned and censored for saying these things. That's what I was talking about before. I said, look, if they're talking about this, because they want you to be funneled towards the mainstream. They'll pretend they're not mainstream because they have new networks now, right? It's just a repacking. It's a repackaging. You know, you're gonna go back to the same thing. No, trust us. Anyways, and they could be real. I'm not there, and I don't imagine I will ever be back into any kind of a trusting situation. It would be nice, but okay, good luck with that. Anyways, well, especially considering, like I said, everybody else is still censored, still, right now. It's again like it's lessened, but it's that it has been updated to the freedom of reach. Now you can say what you think, but nobody's gonna see it. I know that's happening. I can see it. You can tell the difference. You can tell the difference. And an hour and 23 minutes in is when they start talking about Tucker's apology for Iraq, and I put a separate note saying he's in this part where he's an hour 23 minutes in, they start do a little bit of talk on it, and in that part in that clip he's talking about how he's like he's not rich, and so I looked it up real quick because I knew he was rich, but I didn't know how much. I didn't go. I didn't even see stuff on Tucker. Like I was looking into politicians, not MSM reporters, when I was researching, because I was trying to figure out who to vote for. I was researching politicians, not MSM. But so I did a real fast search on Tucker. I was like, I know this guy's rich. Get the hell out of here. He's like, the first result, Tucker has reportedly earned $6 million a year for hosting Tucker Carlson tonight. I'm just like, yeah, okay. You know, you're not a billionaire. Okay. You poor bastard. Anyways, come on, that's funny. Whatever, man. An hour and 20 minutes in, they discuss the Trump conviction. Oh yeah, I thought this was funny. So, a part of that discussion, I believe it was Dave Smith. It was like, I had already mentioned this. He was like, "This has never happened before. You know, like they've never attacked somebody like this." Yes, they do it every damn cycle. Every 4 or every 8 years, right? Sometimes there might be a little gap, right? Like a little gap, but there's every 4 or 8 years, it's always been one-sided and MSM, always. That's why everybody always thinks they don't have a choice between two like, oh, I have to pick this one or the other. And it's always like a little battle between two. Like, come on. Anyways, there have been impeachments before. There have been lawsuits and court trials every damn time, right? Like, oh, I've never seen this. Is the first time. It's so insane. I'm just like, what? Okay. Let's see. What I thought was interesting was an hour and 30. So again, this is about 2 minutes. It started talking about the Trump conviction. It's an hour and 28 minutes, and then 30 minutes in, hour and 30 minutes. Cuomo actually like lists off the things Trump is guilty of, like a little bit, right? Like kind of. It was. I thought that was funny because, like, I mean, and I like Dave Smith makes a really good point. Is why watch this whole thing, because there's so many good points made in the clips that I saw. I was like, all right, I have to see. Is this really the conversation they're having? They're really saying these things? Yeah, no, they really did. And I was just like, what? Like, okay. Anyways, but yeah, it is easy to say that yes, he's guilty of these things, yeah, and people are still like, again, somehow like, oh, he's still my president. I'm gonna vote for a felon. Like, how much idiocracy? Seriously, right? Come on, right? Anyways, I'm trying to think of like, damn it. Keep getting lost on it. It's too ridiculous, man. But so it's something Dave Smith had mentioned, and this was part of the clip I had seen too that made me want to watch this. I was like, holy crap. He starts talking about like, look, you know, people are talking about how like nobody's above the law, which is not a new one. That's also old. I heard that as a kid. It's never changed, man. It's always the damn same thing. He starts listing off the former presidents. He's like, you could have got all these guys with criminal activity, whatever. They could have all been taken down or whatever, right? You know, I forget exactly how he words it, but he's talking about like arrest them too, kind of a thing. And he's like, look, and yeah, even Trump could be arrested for war crimes, literal war crimes, but they're going after him for these little things, these other things, because if they went after him for the actual real political war crime type stuff and that kind of a thing, then they'd have to go after everybody else too, right? Like, duh, that's the freaking point. That's why I don't understand how anybody could make any sense of this. Like, yeah, Trump's the man somehow, because he's somehow the opposite. What do you? Anyways, it'll never not break my brain a little, right? Like, I'm just like, how that. So he reminded me of so I'd already mentioned that every president that I can remember, man, like almost every president in my lifetime has been impeached at some point, right? Like at some point, they all had their little impeachment shows and trials and whatever. Stupid, man. And then also at the same time, something I heard as a kid: "He's not my president. That's not my president." like, it's just, come on. Hey, I think that's funny. I'm not trying to be rude, or I just really do think that's funny. That is my reaction. I'm not trying to be rude and make fun of people. I'm just like, how do you get to that conclusion? Like, what do you, it's just weird to me. Okay, give me one sec. Okay, sorry. So yeah, no, the general idea of that makes me laugh. It's not like, because I will think people are stupid and whatever, like, including myself. But with this specific thing, it's different. I just don't understand that at all. Like, it's not even like, it's a different. It's just weird. I don't know how to explain that one. It's just funny to me though. Not my president. Like, I get it. You didn't vote for him, right? And what I would rather say, none of them are my damn president. Like, none of them. Like, none of them are even like represent anybody that I know of. You know, they're all just rich a-holes, you know, whatever, and liars and psychopaths. Yeah, that's not my club. I'm glad I'm not in that club. Holy crap, dude. I mean, some people like worshiping Satan, you know. Some people like to be crazy, murderous, rapists, insanos, you know. I guess, right? You know, fortunately, they are the minority for so far, but that's why they try to brainwash people to make everybody think it's so normal. I just finished The Boys again. I rewatched The Boys because the new season is coming out. Damn it. I'm wiping my nose with my shirt just in case you're curious. I just don't want to do it on camera. Okay, I'm a runny nose. All right, sorry. So, The Boys, new season is coming out, and I rewatched it. And I forgot how season 3 ended. Season 2 is my favorite so far because the Nazi girl. The whole story is nuts, man. So crazy. If you're young, do not watch that show. It's way too violent. It's way too. Wait until you're older, okay? Parents, don't let your kids watch that show. But I forgot at the end. Do you remember what happened in the end, dude? Because I'm gonna tell you, man. Homelander literally like kills someone in front of a crowd of people because he threw a bottle or something and hit Homelander's son in the head, right? So Homelander he lost it and he just boop pops him, man. Laser beams him to death, and like, you know, the crowd's sitting there, they're looking, and everybody's just kind of like, what the hell happened? And then one guy starts cheering, and they all start cheering. And that's where we are at. We are there. Yeah. Okay. An hour and 30 minutes in, says people only want Trump as a middle finger to the government, which is complete nonsense. Yeah. So an hour and 30 minutes in, he's like, yeah, so people are just voting for Trump to you know, say, screw you, I'm gonna vote for some crazy guy, which is stupid nonsense. It's the same old argument that I have heard since I was a kid. There's always two major things, right? Number one is always, your vote doesn't matter if you're going to vote for third party. It doesn't matter. You're wasting your time. You're wasting everybody. You're screwing us all over because you want to vote third party. That's number one. And then the other one is this one that he says is like, oh, they're voting to just say F you because I don't like your party. You guys pissed me off. Like, you're stupid. You should be voting in your own best interest and the interest of the people you care about, you know? Not just to be like, oh, we screwed ourselves. Like, doesn't make any sense. It's dumb. But not only that, um, that's just some of the voters, some of the people. But there are a hardcore base of fans that really truly believe this is the savior sent from God. They truly believe that. Truly, you know. So yeah, no, it's crazy. But that's also same old. There's not that's always been a thing I've seen since I was a kid. Again, worst time I've ever seen it in my life. Things have been really insane. But it is the same story, just more extremes, more different measures, So yeah, no, I've seen that before. People thought, Ronald Reagan was God's gift to the country, and Bill Clinton, even, everybody, every president had their side of fanatics in a way, right? And just fans, right? Not even meant to be in an insulting way, like just fanatics, just super fans, right? We can think of it as an insulting way, especially when they think they're God's chosen one, kind of like, come on, man, you insane bastards. But that's what happens when we're only aware of the circus in front of us, the entertainment, the show, and not the actual history and the actual details of things that are, part of that crazy system. Anyways, let's see, an hour and 41 minutes in. Dave Smith says the shadow agencies are trying to stop Trump. Yeah, so there was a few times, and this is where he kept losing me. I kept getting so mad because I'm like, this guy is so spot on, but then he just keeps saying like, oh, Trump's the opponent. He's the one they're trying to stop. Like, no, he's not. And then again, like he was saying, oh, like I've never seen it before like this. This is the worst I've seen it, the most extreme I've seen it, but it's the same. It's just an upgraded version. I have seen these things before. So it just made me really mad. I was just like, dude, no, what? Now look, man. Would I like that to be true? Sure. Like, come on. Damn it, man. Are you... Where have you been these past few years? How can you even believe that for a second? Because it's the show they put on? Like, for real? Okay, I gotta figure out a better way for myself and put it in my own words. If I ever do, is to figure out how to. To me, it's just so stupid. Like I don't get it. I cannot grasp. I've tried, man. I spent out. That's why I watched so much of Trump. I was like, why do people like this guy? I just can't, man. I'm just like, I could say the same thing about any politician. I could say, why do people like Biden? It's crazy too. They're just as crazy. They're on both sides. Anybody that's like super hardcore into one of these so-called presidents, right? These puppets, these crazy, insane people. Both sides have the extreme, like, this is my president. Oh, they've done so much good for the country. It doesn't matter. It's always, people are going to think that of either one. People are going to say it about Trump. People are going to hate Trump. No. And it's the same thing with Biden. It's the same thing with every president we've ever had. Or the opponents as well, when they switched back and forth, People are because just believe lies. Just believe the TV show. Just believe the nonsense. Like, I can say this from experience. There's a reason that I lost my mind in the past few years, or a few years ago, when I was really learning some real stuff. Okay, some real history and really looking into the details of things. Because I didn't really look before. I had heard stuff, especially consider Pfizer. None of that stuff's new. I've heard about that since I was a freaking kid. Lawsuits ever since. Never not known Pfizer to be like this crazy company that pays off lawsuits because they hurt and kill people. But the details make it so much worse. It sucks. They do. The details make it so much worse. If you think it's bad, you have no damn idea if you've never actually went deeper. Like, that's some. I don't I have not been back in that. I just realized, I was like, man, I've been out of that for a little while. I've been out of it, I guess, long enough. It destroyed me. Anyways, sorry. I don't want to think about that. Okay. Hour and 44 minutes in. This was interesting. An hour and 44 minutes. Briefly, Chris Cuomo is talking about the club. Now, I kind of want to bring it up now. I'm not going to, because there's too much more still to go over, and I don't want this to be so long. But he actually, an hour 44 minutes, around there, right? These are not exact second by second timestamps, so it's around there. He gets into the club, the political club, and I don't think he realized. I think he's trying to be honest without being too honest. Maybe, I don't know. It was very strange because like the way he spoke about the club was really, because you have to see it. You have to go see what he says. Go check it out around that timestamp. Go have a listen and see if you feel the same way I do, because like at the same time throughout this entire conversation they're having, he's still insisting that the political system and these politicians we still have to use them and rely on them and you know, just do it right and whatever, while also talking about, and that's how it's only the club makes these decisions and you have to be in the club. I was like, does he know what he just said? I was seriously, I was like, I don't even know if he knows what he just said. So check it out. 1 hour 44 minutes. It might go into like an hour 45 minutes, or it's around there, right? So it was just, I was like, wow. All right. I mean, they got a little bit into the numbers of how much money was raised, how quickly Trump was able to raise money and legit, and it's whatever. And I'm like, I'm just so. It's an argument that I've heard too my whole life, pretty much, is like everybody's going based on these numbers that are given to them. Those numbers are most likely a lie. I mean, it's possible that he's actually raised that much money in that short time and whatever, but who knows how true that really is, man? Are you looking at the bank accounts? Are you actually seeing the money transfers? You know, no. So it could be, I'm not, if it is true, it doesn't change a damn thing. That's the thing for me. I just think it's funny that generally the conspiracy theorists, or you know, people in the conspiracy club type, you know, mentality and whatever thing, club and all that, will tell you stuff like you can't trust the numbers, they're just lying to you about this and that, which is true. But then they'll turn around, and again, I get it, and they'll use the same like sources for numbers of other things. It's the same thing with like police brutality and stuff. That's why you'll get all kinds of stupid numbers about like, oh, they kill more white cop or white dudes than they do black. It goes back and forth. It's the same old nonsense, man. And where are we getting these numbers from? The same liars, you know. But I can tell you what, as far as that goes, in my own life experience, having been around police in brief periods and times and whatever, and having seen that they do treat white people differently every single time by default, no matter what, there is an obvious difference that you can see in front of your eyes if you have a brain. That it is different, okay? It's so different. That doesn't mean that cops aren't also assholes to white people. Doesn't mean that at all. There is a difference. Anyways. I had to scroll down. I actually had so many notes that I had to make a separate message because it was so full. Anyways, all right. Hour and 51 minutes, and Cuomo starts pushing data that says more Republicans died unvaccinated. Hold on, this is great. I recommend watching it and seeing how because it's funny. It's funny to me. I'm gonna tell you why. Sorry, I just remembered this. I forgot about this, and I'm sitting here looking at the note, and I'm like, oh yeah, I was just like, you can't. What? All right. An hour and 51 minutes in. starts like referring to us to studies, multiple studies that have shown that unvaccinated Republicans were dying more than just regular vaccinated people. And he goes on to say it bothers him that it was politicized so much. I thought that was funny. Right there, like it bothers me that it was politicized, and I was laughing immediately. But then immediately, right away, right after he says that, he promotes a politician for the future, and he's like, "Keep an eye on this guy. You want to be aware of this." Like, so it bothers him that it's politicized, but also be aware of this politician. I was just like, what? Come on, like, okay. Oh man, all right. And then at an hour and 57 minutes, there was a couple of these notes where I know it's like I might have been a minute under or over or whatever. But most of them I try to get on the minute. I might not do the seconds, but I try to get on the minute. But yeah, so anyways, around an hour and 57 minutes, they do discuss a little bit about Sweden and having the lowest excess deaths, which that was not a fun conversation to just watch when I was seeing that. Like a couple years back, the excess death stuff, and the sudden death stuff, and that all sucked. But yeah, they briefly discussed that. And interestingly, 2 hours and a minute in, they talked about 9/11, and I think I actually meant to go back and rewatch this. I don't want to, and I'm not planning to right now. I mostly, some of these notes, you notice I didn't really go into detail. I'm just sharing, like, part of the conversation. But I think I wanted to go back and maybe get a little bit more thought on it, and I didn't end up doing that. And I don't plan to, but I did think it was interesting that they talked a little bit on 9/11. A little bit. I just remembered something. Yeah, they spent like almost the entire first hour. It was weird because they had a decent conversation in the first hour, but it was like they were trying to get him to apologize the whole time, and he just would not. He refused to apologize. And what I thought was funny was he explained why he wouldn't apologize, Chris Cuomo. And I can understand his point of view. I think he's trying to cover his own ass. I think he's also, I don't know. It's really weird because if he's being honest, not only is he trying to cover his own ass, but he also does not feel guilty, which he should, 100%. He should, 100% feel guilty and shame. But it's possible that he is in denial. I would bet on it if he's not being controlled, and he's not, because sometimes it's hard to tell. It depends on especially the way they talk. Like, I can believe he believes what he's saying. I don't have to. I can. The way he presents himself and the way he speaks about it, he seems like he could just be a really good actor. I don't know. But it could be a real thing, and he could be really actually in denial. I don't know. I choose to believe they're all in on it and they're all evil because I've seen too much. So for me, it's easier to accept that, and that's not easy. But it's easier for me to be so one-sided than to ever trust anything from any of them ever again. I am open to the possibility, but I am not gonna give that away. Not it would take a lot. It would actually take real meaningful change within the system itself, and that's never going to happen. So no, as much as I can understand the perspective and the points of view that these people might have, that in MSM, I'm talking about MSM specifically, okay? Not people that made mistakes, not people that were lied to and betrayed, manipulated, and broken. Specifically the people that got paid to lie, still paid to lie. and have been paid to lie for our entire life. So those are the people that I'm not ever going to give it another chance, really. If I see there's a reason, then sure, but whatever. And then on top of that, consider the actual professional industry of medicine. Like I don't hate those people, but I could not possibly ever trust them again. And at this point, it's anybody. Anyways, I'm not trying. That's just where I'm at. I'm just sharing it. That's where I'm at, man. It sucks. It's not fun. It's not easy. I've felt this way for at least 2 full years now. I mean, where are we at? We're in June. Wow. But I spent 2 years out of my mind, deeply gone and broken. And now it's been a while where like I just have to accept it for what it is. I have to. What else can I do? Right? And it's not easy. It's crazy. Different moments, different emotions, and I've said it before. Like I'll never not have the guilt and shame, and I'll never. I can't imagine ever not being as deeply pissed as I am. And the moment right now, fortunately, I'm feeling okay. I'm grateful for that. That anger sucks, man. Okay. 2 hours and 11 minutes in, Cuomo starts talking. He said, now I put this in my own words. Cuomo starts talking about how like people hate immigrants. And I forgot. So of course, I think in the final hour, it's because they talk about it a little here at the 2 hour mark, but 3 hours in is when they got more into immigration and stuff. And I'm like, oh yeah, here we go again. I did have a video on immigration. Check that out. It's funny. To me, anyways, because again, the immigration thing, it may be true, it may be, I don't know. To me, it's nonsense. It could be true. To me, it's nonsense. But I've seen the immigration argument since I was a kid. Same with all of this stuff. That's why. It's another reason why I was not only when I realized what I had done and what happened. I am also mad at myself. I mean, I've explained this before on a couple of videos. Like I was out of my mind. I don't think it's a good enough excuse. I know that it's true and whatever, but I was mad at myself because I was like I had seen all this before. All of it. And when I started really looking into it, I was like, man, this is all this. I remember this from when I was a kid. I remember like it all reminded me of Desert Storm. All of it. That lasted so long, man. That was nuts. And we're right now. That's what's happening. But it's like Desert Storm times like 10, man. It's crazy. Okay. Let's see. In 2 hours and 17 minutes, they start arguing about who. About like owning the opposite view, like and. What's some of the, I forgot some of the independent media. I saw it referred to as dunking on, like when you're able to like put out a point that really shows the other person was wrong and stupid for what they said or whatever. They had a brief little argument over that, and it was interesting because Chris, I liked this. It was good. What got me about Cuomo, I don't know the first name, but the governor of New York. His whole family, because it's all you talk about like the family in politics, right? I've thought about that before. I'm like, you follow them, it's all bloodline. They all inherit it, man. Even if they're not like related, they get in through friends and family, right? Like it's inherited. It's all inherited, man. And the show, the fakeness is making us believe we're choosing them. But all you got to do is look at the history and how they're all connected in every damn government. Oh my gosh, that's crazy. It's insane. Anyways, what remind me of that? Oh yeah, so I remember like during initially when I was first looking into politicians and who to vote for, whatever, and I was watching more political speeches and stuff before I got into really finding out their actual history, which I I wasn't even trying to. I wasn't even trying to find out their history. I was just trying to find out about them and the policy. The policy was my number one thing. Is like, how, what's the policy? What does this mean? What are these things that we're voting on and stuff? And then I ended up going down the history on that was just a part of it. It was connected. So the governor Cuomo, I had watched some of his speeches, and I was like, oh, this guy seems cool, man. Like, I like this guy, kind of like Bernie Sanders, right? Like, says a lot of nice things that I can agree with and whatever. But anyways, there's always going to be a hero for anybody. They've got a hero for everybody, every group, every demographic, right? Every demographic has a hero in politics. Somebody on the stage for them, they're for me. Yeah, every time. I keep forgetting. Yeah. So sometimes they say some stuff, and I'm like, oh man, that's cool. But yeah, so Chris Cuomo, this is something I can agree with. He's saying like, look, man, you guys are going so hard about just owning people and just proving you're right or whatever, rather than just like letting them be wrong and accept that. And yeah, no, makes sense. But again, for me, the difference is between regular people, forgiving regular people, and the authority. There's a huge difference. You might disagree with me. I don't know how, but that's it's just my perspective. A big difference between regular people being lied to, manipulated, all this craziness, believing lies and stuff that they shouldn't believe, and the people that did it to them. There's a huge difference. So, but the point he makes is correct. Like, and I get it, and it's also not a new one. People have said that since I was a kid. Like, oh, you want to do just do something real to fix this stuff, not just own the other person kind of a thing. Like that's not a new one either. So, but Dave Smith replied to him with a very also understandable response. He said, "That's what you guys did that to us. You ridiculed us. You shamed us for not wanting to follow these mandates and these restrictions that you were trying to. You ridiculed us, and it's true, 100%. His words were smeared, right? You guys were smearing us, yeah, 100%. The whole thing was nuts, man. I mean, death in camps for the unvaccinated, man. That was really said in newspapers, not just on TV. In newspapers. Anyways, okay. And then 2 hours 26 minutes in, Dave Smith. It was a few times throughout this 3-hour thing where I would consider him redeemed or whatever, because he kept pissing me off with his support for Trump, even though he's saying he's not a Trump supporter. He's still got that. I don't know why he has this idea. This is puppetry, just more CIA nonsense, just more of the show, right? Which is the only thing I could assume. Would like to be wrong, but whatever. Because he just kept saying like he's the outsider, and everybody's made these points. They're like la la la, like if Biden was doing these things, then the reaction would be different, right? From the people, because they would think it's the good side doing it, right? But that's also not a new argument. It's not the first time this has happened. It's literally every election. It's just everything that happened was to more extremes, and it's always the only difference. It's always the same stories. It's just more advanced, more, it's crap. I mean, domestic terrorism, right, for example, was something that I heard in the 90s, like we got to be careful of the domestic terrorists. And so the idea alone of domestic terror, you understand what that means, right? Like it's just normal, regular citizens and are now all of a sudden terrorists because they have a different point of view or a different perspective. It's just strange, man. Just that fact. It's just everybody's a damn terrorist, but not the government somehow, or the police, the military, right? Like, well, oh, the normies are terrorists, but not those guys that actually go and beat and murder people. No, they're not the they're the heroes. Oh yeah, whoops. Oh, my bad. Anyway, just saying. Look, and it does suck because like here's the thing that sucks about that. I have to say this because I always forget this. Everybody I've ever known, friends and family of friends and all that, has either been a cop or military. Every single buddy, everybody. I think that's why it's so hard for people to accept, hey, look what we did wrong, we're fucking Nazis. Like, yeah, I mean, I get it, man. But once, if you see it and you know it's wrong, and I don't know how you could accept that. I don't know, like legitimately. Just as one example for what flipped me here during the past few years. What flipped me for, I don't want to say it, man. I still don't know what's going to be censored or not. But the recent flu, call it that. Damn, I lost my point too. These things I don't like thinking about, man. But yeah, the death and the camps for the unvaccinated. I remember thinking similar things, or being like, kill them, they're a-holes, whatever, let the a-holes die. But that's not like actively trying to do it, actively saying, yeah, we're really gonna go kill these people because they don't want to put a mask on or they don't want to take a shot. Like, that's not real. That's just anger and frustration and be like, what in the hell's, why are you such a dick, right? It's an emotional response. But when you get into we're really talking about killing them for real and putting them in camps and stuff, like we're really saying these things for real on the news, and the president is saying these things. Hello, that snapped me right the hell out, man. Like, no way. Like, because that's for real. That's not like somebody just being angry and venting or whatever. That's that's insanity. Like, that's insanity, man. Anyways. Okay. I had to catch up to my notes. Oh yeah, I forgot. That got me into a little rant. So, and 2 hours and 26 minutes in, Dave Smith had mentioned, the government did it to all of us. All of us. No matter which side you run. This is something that I was like, yeah. This, like, to the people that fought against the mandates and stuff, they did it to them. And they also brainwashed us that went along with it with lies. And some people will still say that, Chris Cuomo is arguing like, this wasn't lies, it was mistakes and whatever. And he's still saying we still got to trust these people and whatever. And I can understand that perspective. I don't believe it for a second. I can understand the argument, but look, man, I would say it's either from a liar or ignorance. You can't see the history we've had, and not just politically, but like systemically. And not have doubts or even flat out like refusal. I don't know how I could go further. I don't want to. I still have some more notes to it. So, anyways, yeah, it was done to all of us. Either way, no matter no matter which side people were on, right or wrong, because still even right now, people on either side think they're on the right one, right? That's how messed up it is. Yeah, but either way, it was done to all of us. Right or wrong side, it was done to us. So that's why I get mad at people who will say stuff like, "I blame the stupid brainwashed idiots," and I'm like, well, and I get it, like, 'cause I get frustrated with that too. I do. I get frustrated with that as well. But I'm like, but they didn't do it to themselves, man. Now there is a thing where if you have some obvious evidence and something different put in front of your face and you just refuse it because it's not from somebody you like, or whatever, or agree with, I get that. Like, it is interesting because I'm that way. It's why I'll be like, no, who cares if Trump is saying something true? Who cares if this horrible, evil person is saying something you agree with and it is true? It's all a part of their way to try to get you to trust them. That little bit. It's the whole, like the CIA interview where they're like, oh, we'll give them truth. We'll slip in a lie, whatever. We get them to trust us, and then we can just lie the whole time, and they'll never question us, Anyways, they'll give you a little bit of truth and whatever to get you to think that they're on your side. I mean, Bernie Sanders. Well, no, Bernie Sanders is just straight up a show. He's just a show. I don't want to. Damn it. I don't know how to explain it in like technical terms or political terms. It's just the experience throughout my life of having seen different people propped up throughout these different cycles of elections and whatever. And there's always somebody with the opposing view that everybody thinks that because that one person was up on the stage saying all these things that we agree with, that something good's going to actually happen. But it never did. Never, ever. Not ever. Never did. Same thing with the squad and AOC, the same thing. Right now, you'll have these people list off good things that Biden did, and it's just like, every one of those is untrue. And then the only supposed good things, the only actual real things that got put through are just really stupid, dumb, pointless things that nobody would ever care about in the first place. I don't have examples. Oh my gosh, I can't. That's not my thing, man. I have looked. I'm more personal and emotional when it comes to looking at these things. Other people do it mathematically and things like that, right? I have read the policy. I've looked through it. I don't store that information in my head because it's freaking nonsense, bull crappery, dude. It's insanity, man. It's so stupid. And that's why I've said it before, like, go try reading that crap, man. You can read it, sure, but it doesn't make no damn sense. It's all like double speak and just garbage. It's garbage. But yeah, like you look at the actual policy, so you get the crumbs. That's always been a thing. That's not new. The whole crumb thing. Like if there's like this little good thing that passes through, 100 freaking horrible things have gone through along with that. Okay. 2 hours 35 minutes in, they start discussing border control and stopping the immigrants, and they've got the numbers of how many immigrants are taking over America and stuff, and they're the bad guys. Meanwhile, again, I've talked about this. Y'all link it. I'm talking about this in the previous video where it's like immigration. Like even when I was a kid, we grew up being taught and told that America is the land of bringing people in. We want the immigrants. They're great. We love immigrants, and it's always the back and forth, same old back and forth. It's one thing, both stories at the same time. We hate immigrants. We love immigrants. We hate immigrants. We love immigrants. We hate immigrants. it's same my whole life, man. So, and on top of it is possible that bad things are happening. It's possible. Or getting this invasion going on, I suppose it's possible. Like it's possible. The reason I don't care, okay, is because our government has always been evil. So, oh no, some normies have got through the border. I don't even care about borders. I don't care. I'm not attached to. I don't even like the idea of borders. I've talked about that before too. I don't care. I don't care what country I'm in. I'm just alive, existing in a world full of evil that's run by evil. But you know, it's also a beautiful place, you know, loaded with miracles and miraculous events and beautiful people, wonderful things, you know. So um, that's just how I am. We all live in the same world, man. Whoever, like those of us here, just alive. We're just we're alive in the same world, man. Like, what's this border crap? I can understand there are differences between people and cultures and stuff like that, but we are, you know, everybody's vilified. It's weird. It's just really weird. And I do know that there are real evil people in the world, like because they run it. They're the ones that we're voting on, and you're not voting on anybody. Anyways, okay. Um, 2 hours and 42 minutes. Oh yeah, Dave Smith said that this. I just thought this was funny. He said Trump never called them rapists or whatever, and I remember seeing that full freaking like little interview thing. And yes, he does. Yes, he does say that. Yes, he does. Prove me wrong. Do me a huge favor. Go find that speech where he did that. He's talking about like the immigrants there. And I forget the exact words because it's a little while back. I forget the exact words. But he does call them rapists. He does. And he said some very bad things. And he's like, oh, he never said that. Out of context or whatever. I'm like, no. And I get it, because he jumbled his words, Trump, when he said that, he jumbled his words a little bit, but you get that in context, and that motherfucker did say that. Like, you know, whatever, man. Whatever. They all have said horrible things, so I don't care. I'm not gonna, like, just be, I don't only hate Trump, I just don't understand why people can't see that he's a piece of crap. Like, what do you, what? What? Anyways. They're all horror. They're all evil demons. Okay, whatever, man. Oh man, no, I'm glad I can say that. When I was first saying that, I can mean that. I can mean that, and now I can. Yeah, I'm in that laughing phase of things, I guess. Whatever. But no, it was painful to say that when I first was saying that. When I was first calling them demons, I'm like, yeah, they're truly evil. And I truly believe that. That is, I still see that. They are truly evil demons to me. I just, like I said, I just gotta accept it. Like, what else can I do, man? I can talk about it. That's all I can do. Anyways. Beware of evil, it's real, and it's in our world, and it's ruling us, man. Anyway. 2 hours, 45 minutes in, they said we need the immigrants for more jobs. That's what Cuomo was saying. And I'm like, dude, because he also had said people don't want jobs, which is the same old lie. It's bullcrap, dude. People actually want jobs they get paid to do. You know, it's $12 to $14 hour jobs now in this current economy. You know, like, and you still have people saying stupid crap like, oh, you guys shouldn't be getting paid $20 an hour at a fast food, you know, restaurant or whatever. It's like, dude, do you understand the cost of living? Do you understand? No, rich people, middle class and higher, they don't. They don't get it, dude. You cannot have a real and I'm not saying like they're not cool people or can't be cool people. They don't know, man. They don't know. They think they're poor. The middle class thinks they're poor. Like you I'm not like that would I want to stick to this topic because I'm already well over what I want to be. You know, I was trying to make this under an hour just because, man, it gets long, you know, whatever. Anyways, I have a little bit longer to go, a little bit more notes here. But I just think it's funny because that whole we hate the immigrants, we love the immigrants, we hate the immigrants, and then we need the immigrants because nobody here is working jobs, nobody here wants jobs, so we're gonna bring in the immigrants. What I didn't even realize, it was funny. It made me realize when I was hearing him explain it like that, because I've known the lie, right, of how like people don't want jobs. That's always been bull crap, and then the we need immigrants to come do our jobs for us, like, which is just stupid. But then I was like, oh, that's what people mean by cheap labor in a way, because people do get paid way less in other countries too, right? Like, it just depends where you are, right? Same thing with like states inside of America, like they do pay differently per different state and stuff. None of them pay a living wage though, as far as I'm aware. And then regular normie jobs, okay, not freaking middle class jobs and shit, regular normie jobs. Corporate jobs, which is it's a normie job. Damn it, we were talking about immigrants, but yeah, no. So sure, I guess to them, if they come in and they get these $14 an hour jobs, they're excited about it and think it's cool because it's more than what they were getting paid where they lived before, right? But one thing I was thinking about, I was like, well, they might think that when they first see the idea of like, hey, this job gives $14 an hour, but are they also considering how much they have to pay for rent and food and stuff like that? I don't know. I don't think so though, because the wages have never made sense to me. Ever in my entire life, wages have never made sense to in comparison to like the cost of just generally doing anything. Getting food, not even just fast food, but like grocery food. It's worse now. Like I said, it's the worst I've ever seen it. But it's not like stuff hasn't always been overpriced. Stuff has always been overpriced. It's just gotten worse. That's all that's ever happened. It just gets worse. But things have always been overpriced, man. Always been overpriced. That's why we ever had dollar stores in the first place. We're just saying, or like Pick and Save and little stores like that, and all of them get taken out, and little political events and stuff. They destroy the businesses. That's not a new thing. That's happened before. Again, worst I've ever seen it in my lifetime was in the past few years. I was just like, that was nuts, man. I had to catch up to that. I was deep into only politics. Like, well, I started with BLM. But at the same time, I was in BLM and politicians. And then it was just nothing but politicians. And then I ended up into history and following the money. And then I ended up inside of the flu season. Code word. It's kind of funny. Stupid. Anyways. Forget what I was saying. So I'm just going to keep going here. But yeah, then let's see. 2 hours, 50 minutes in, Cuomo says this is funny to me. I've talked about this before. And 2 hours, 50 minutes in, Cuomo says you can't beat the system top down. You can only go bottom up. So it's the same old bullcrap of blaming the voters. Like, you have to vote for the right people. You got to vote inside the system and pick the right people. And that's you start from the bottom, guys. You start from you got to pick. No, I've said this since I was young. I don't remember when I first started saying it, but I was maybe around 18, 19. I don't know. So you start from the top. You don't start from the bottom. You don't start with the normies. The top are the ones doing this to everybody. The powerful are the ones doing it to everybody underneath them. So, no, you don't start at the bottom. That's retarded, garbage, propaganda, brainwashing nonsense. And it's in everything. It's in comic books. It's in, like TV, movies. They do it too. That's part of the propaganda. Either that or it's either propaganda from the higher ups in the industry, putting out the entertainment, or it's actually brainwashed people that believe that, and they're writing it part of their story because they're brainwashed to believe that. But dude, you don't start at the bottom for power. That's stupid. It doesn't even make any sense. Make sense of that to me. maybe you can help me understand, because there's no sense of it to me. No, that's not the normie's fault. We have no power. And people will tell you, oh, you have the power. You can go grow your own food and be happy and be kind. That's the power that stupid idiots want to talk about, man. Like, get out of here. We're not... Anyway, just say when it comes to the political realm and the systemically, like, that's just nonsense. It's stupid. Okay. 2 hour 51 minutes in, so 1 minute after that. Dave, Dave had a good rant on decadence. Now I don't use the word decadent. He kept saying decadence like a bunch throughout this little rant he had, but I kind of wanted to bring it up. I'm not going to because this is going on. But yeah, what is it? What was it? 2 hours 51 minutes in. It might have been a little before, right? Like during the previous minute. But yeah, he goes into how like that's why everything is so stupid now and insane, idiocracy, full blown, because it's the end of an of the empire. That's why. And I've that's people talk, but this isn't the first time I've heard of that. I've heard that before. I've heard it long before Trump. I'm pretty damn sure I heard that when I was a kid during Desert Storm. Pretty damn sure. I know that I've heard it before multiple times. I would bet that it was also said during Desert Storm. This is the end of an empire. This is what happens, and and look, that could have been true then. It could have been true all this time in the past 30 years. Because I've also read and seen in discussions, and I don't store a lot of the history stuff. I don't store in my memory. My best memories. I just realized this in the past year or so. I was like, all my good memories, because I have a lot of memories, and I used to think I had a bad memory. I don't have a bad memory. My memories that I keep and I remember are personal. Well, those are my memories, and we're all different, right? Like some people remember books; they can remember like every word of like all these crazy historical books, and it's just like they remember the entire dictionary, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, I don't remember stuff like that." So I have seen it and whatever. Give me a minute. Okay, sorry. Um, where was I? Oh, the decadence thing. I didn't even look it up. I meant to go look it up. I just thought it was funny. So he had a little brief good rant on how that's why everything's just so stupid and crazy right now. And it's weird to see it when you look into the details of things like what I did, and it's why I'm so sold on a certain mentality that I am, and I don't want to be, I don't want to be where I'm at, but I am. But once you see it and you can't unsee it, right? And it's different for different things. You might have like there's different levels, right? So we can both be at this point where once we see it, we can't unsee it, but we're not on the same level. Like there's different depth to this whole. You know what I mean? If you know what I mean, right? Like it's weird, because we can be on completely different levels, but we both have seen it and can't unsee it, kind of a thing, but you really see the insanity that we're going through right now, just in general, with like just everything. And what's really messed up to me is that it really isn't any different from when I was younger. It's just more extreme. I've never seen the mandates before. Never saw that before. That was a huge. It worked. You know how well that worked. I mean, we're still in this like aftermath of I don't know a good word for that. but we still have the divide. And I don't even think it's 50-50. It seemed to me more like 80-20. It seems to me that more people still believe in this lie. Even though MSM has repeatedly had to admit to so many different things that used to be conspiracy theory. And we're not just the recent events, but they went back to the JFK assassination, 9/11, more things came out. I can't remember, something came out. It just came to mind. Wasn't thinking about it, it just reminded me of it. But yeah, something came out. I don't remember what it was. But like another little small thing that they kind of like admitted. What a bunch of weird. And part of that too, talked a little bit about that before, is some would say the reason the so-called truth of these things, of the conspiracy theory and whatever, is part of the destruction of our country or whatever. Some people would say that part of it is to make people lose their freaking minds over this stuff. Put simply, that's put in my own words. They would say it differently when other people explain it that way. That's how I put it. They say it differently. Just so you know. All right. I'm gonna continue on here. We're almost done. 3 hours and 1 minute in. They spoke on this and I thought it was funny. I was like, oh my gosh. So apparently Elon Musk is having Donald Trump on X. They still, I just, X. Whatever. I can't call it X. The only reason I read it like that. I read it. That's why I said X. I call it Twitter, man. But also I thought it was funny because, yeah, the way they do it, they have like, the advertisement, it's kind of like a damn UFC fight thing, right? You know, that's how they do it. They promote it like that. But so yeah, apparently Donald Trump's gonna have the town hall on Twitter, and I was like, the host of this show too, between Dave Smith and Chris Cuomo, he was saying it like, he was presenting it like Elon Musk used to be a full leftist, now he's more right and whatever, and the reason he was trying to demonstrate how like all these people that used to be left, used to be Democrat, whatever, now they're all changing, and it's the same thing. This is not new. This is the same every 4 years. It's the same every 4 damn years. But you know, if you have really looked at all the conspiracy theory and history behind not only Trump and his connections with all these politicians and stuff, but as well as Elon Musk and his connections to all this stuff, right? How could you possibly think either one of them is an outsider? And you see both of them, and he's doing the town hall. This is a person who got banned, right, from Twitter, you know, that whole nonsense. And I thought it was funny, man. I was laughing when he got banned. I was laughing when Trump got banned. Because he was saying psychotic stuff. I don't care. People are like, oh, you can't ban the president. And then how are people supposed to know what he's going to say? What the hell are you talking about? Like, how are people supposed to know what the government's telling you? I don't know. Oh, apparently we need Trump on Twitter, or else we won't know what the government's telling us. Like, fucking idiots, man. Stupid. That was always funny to me. I was like, you can't be that stupid. They had the only fair points I could agree with would be like freedom of speech or whatever, you know, and that's just nonsense too, though. That's nonsense. It's a lie. It's garbage. But anyways, no, so there's that. Now he's having town hall on or whatever. It's a show. Anyways, let me see. 3 hours and 2 minutes in, so right after talking about the town hall, the host, and I called him an idiot in my notes because I'm like, idiot host compares Biden and Trump and tries to say Trump was better, of course. Says there was no war during Trump. And this is one thing I had seen. Now look, to begin to make this clear, they're all evil, horrible. To me, they're equal and evil. To me. They might as well be, okay? Now, if you get into the technical details, sure, there's nuance, and we can get into how one's technically better than the other. Get the hell out of here with that nonsense, dude. They're all evil, 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 okay? Whatever, alright? They're all the same to me, okay? But yeah, he said there was no war. There was no war during Trump, and that's just not true. There was at least 3 wars. I don't remember them. I think Syria was one. There's so many ongoing wars, and then people will say, "Oh, he stopped this. He pulled troops, this and that." But I have stuff saved, and I'm not gonna get into it. I've done it before in past videos. I've talked about these things, so didn't get deep into the war stuff. But I have all this information. I don't. Whatever, dude. I'm just saying. It's the whole like Trump didn't have wars thing is nonsense. It's garbage. And they point out again how the whole court trial with the 34 count thing, whatever. And I thought this was funny. Chris Cuomo pointed this out, and I didn't know because I wasn't sure. I didn't care. I was just like, I already know it's a show. I already know it's bullcrap. I already know this conviction is nonsense, especially when you still have people thinking they can just vote on this guy. Like, you're... Anyways, the Chris Cuomo pointed this out. The 34 counts was apparently like a stack of the same crime. It'd be like if the way he explained it differently, specifically related to Trump, but I can't remember exactly how it was. So for me, it would be like if I was arrested for stealing 34 different items, like I stole like 10 CDs and 3 cassettes. I'm just thinking about when I stole as a kid. Alright, that would be video games, but whatever. Like candy bars, and I had 34 items in a bag that I stole, and I was arrested for that crime of stealing all these things. But what they did was they took each of these individual items that I stole and made that a conviction. That was basically how Chris Cuomo explained the thing with Trump and the nonsense there, right? And I thought that was interesting. Oh yeah, that was the hush money, right? So apparently like 34 different types of hush money was done or something like that, whatever. So I thought that was kind of funny. And again, I did like that one of the points that Dave said throughout the conversation, which other people have made this whole time. I would make it. I'm just like, dude, they'd all be arrested, every damn one of them, including these MSM reporters, including them, deserve some kind of punishment, man. I've talked about that before. So as long as 99% of them get away with what this crap, I don't care if even if this were to be real, even if they were to really put Trump in prison, it doesn't matter, because like they are all criminals, man, all of them. So okay, anyways. So they talked about it. How they also brought up again how like the court trial shouldn't be happening, and it's the first time it's ever like something this deep is happening. I'm like, I wonder if maybe you remember the other impeachments, the other fake impeachments that have happened multiple times in the past. Like it was all just a show. It was all a distraction. We still had the wars going on. We still had all the crazy crap going on. While they did these fake little trials, and they never actually went to prison. They might have paid a fine. Who knows? They probably didn't. I mean, who knows? They're all the same. It's a show, So how do I if they did pay a fine, what do they do? Just pay it to their own bank account, like how Bill Gates funds and raises money for his own charity, or no, Bill Gates donates to his own charity, right? It's like, right. It's for real. That's a real thing. It's a real thing. Oh, this is my last note. Oh, it's a good way to end, I guess, because this is funny. To me, anyways. All right, 3 hours and 7 minutes into the show, which is probably right near the end. Uh, they show a clip of people waking up because of Trump. And I've had this thought because I've seen the same argument and same conversation throughout the past few years of how people are waking up to the lies and the deception and just how evil the government is and whatever, and they're doing that because of Trump. And the other perspective too, some people would point out, is if it didn't get this bad because of Trump or whatever, then people wouldn't realize. So it goes either way. People are the talking points are either people are grateful for Trump because they believe in him and they trust in him and he's pointing out the bad guy, or the other one is, if it weren't for this evil piece of crap being put in here, then nobody would really have noticed anything, but that's not a new one either. That's also previous cycles of elections. There's always that aspect, always. Deep state isn't new. New World Order isn't new, right? That's why I started thinking it was funny when I started talking about these things. I'm talking about the New World Order. I'm like, dude, I heard this stuff when I was a kid. Like, why believe it? Right? But I've seen their plans. I've seen the history. I've witnessed changes throughout my life that correlate with these things within that system, within the plans, within the agendas. I've literally seen these changes happen, like, in my life. And I didn't realize that it really was that deep and it really was that dark and horrible. How could you believe something like that unless you see it for yourself, right? I think we naturally give the benefit of the doubt because I don't know, in my own personal experience, I know that other people have said this too, because when we run into people, we meet people for the first time, whatever, we're out in the world, we're interacting with whatever we're doing in life. People are cool. For the most people are pretty cool and chill. Get a little aggressive and a little wacky, and there are plenty of wackadoos. There are. But 9 out of 10, that, and my own personal experience and other people I've discussed this with, 9 out of 10 people are cool, chill, like whatever, So I don't remember why I was saying that. But yeah, I don't like that whole thing of, oh, they're waking up because of Trump. If it weren't for him, now they're saved and that they know that there's a bad guy. And then, but I remember talking about this before in my Trump video. I'm like he went on TV and he's talking about like, oh, the people in the dark shadows are the ones that are really holding the power over everybody, but he wouldn't name any names. That doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. If he were a real good guy hero, right? Those people get killed. According to our stories, our history, I'd rather not. I reach a point where I'd rather not believe anything at all. That's not an easy thing. I also know better, right? That's why it's like I'm forcing myself into this really weird thing because I can't do anything about anything. I did, it sucks. Yeah, so anyways, I don't know, I imagine, I'm curious if a single person might make it through this whole video, and if so, cool, man, cool. Yeah, so damn, man, it's half the freaking interview or whatever conversation they had. I wanted to go through this quicker, but yeah, a lot of stuff to talk about. But anyways, I have had a person come in and comment on some of my recent videos, pointing out I did take a video down because I also just didn't really like it, but he was like, how come you're talking about this stuff? And I'm like, Yeah, this one's not important to me really. I just talked about it just cause. Um, but mostly, it's not like I don't know, man. I'm not all like worked up, and I'm pissed. Right? I'm pissed. But I'm not all. I'm not recording these videos to because I'm worried. I mean, if any, there's one worry that I've had this whole time that I've been talking about these things. There's only one worry that I've had. One thing that scares me. One. It's making somebody else lose their fucking mind. I don't want to do that. I but don't want to do that. That's the only thing I'm scared of. There are other things I should be scared of. I've thought about that. I'm like, man, I've said some stuff, dude. Like, damn, this is stuff that people really would want to kill you over, and not just like politically. Not if you were to get into really get deep into stuff and really go after these people as a normie with no power. I have not done that. I'm just discussing the circus show. I'm not even, whatever. Like I might be. I've just thought about it. I'm like, man. But at the same time, I don't think that I. To me, it just doesn't make sense not to speak the truth just because someone might want to hurt you or kill you over it. Especially when if you don't try to share that, like in this specific stuff that I've been talking about, this nonsense will continue. The insanity will continue. And things will only continue to get worse if we can't even talk about it and understand and really accept that things are that bad and that crazy and that wrong. You know, I'm not so like it's weird. I it's weird. I think the main reason is because so far I haven't had death threats. I haven't had people tell me where I live and like get really deep into my personal information and threaten my life and stuff. And I don't know how much that would change. I like as far as my perspective, that would be freaky. I would. That'd probably be scary. Especially, it depends. Like again, plenty of people, especially who play video games or just on the internet in general, having an argument with people. You might be used to someone giving a death threat, like "Oh fuck you, die," whatever, this kind of stuff. But I mean, like a legitimate. If something came off as legit, somebody's telling you, "I have your information." They tell you your personal information. They tell you your address. They tell you like these things, and you're like, "Oh, whoa," right? Like that would be some holy crap. But not like just some random person going like, "Oh, I'll kill you" or whatever. Like that's whatever. Yeah, I don't know, but because that hasn't been on my mind just because I haven't experienced it yet. I don't want to experience that. I certainly don't want to, but yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's weird, especially when you get into the details of things and you do see that people have been killed, man. Like, and it's crazy how like you if you go look into the history of things, that it's really easy to talk about all these things that happened 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years ago now, right? Like it's just this normal thing, like, oh man, that wasn't that crazy, they did all these things, they suicided them and they did like this crazy stuff, but we don't talk about the current things that are the same. That's how it works. That's how it is, man. It's crazy. So anyways, yeah, I kind of don't want to upload this, so I'm going to end the video because it's just so long. It's just so long. So please let me know if you actually like this, or if you do. If you do, please let me know if you actually like this long video, right? Like, I don't know. Anyways, I will talk to you later. Good luck. Bye bye.